Yes, thank you. I'm Bill Olsen with First Group, First Student, First Transit. Our main purpose is to provide student transportation, passenger transportation on metro buses, and other transportation on police vehicles and ambulances for municipal markets. We use an approach towards maintenance that really focuses on the technician and on talking about maintenance and what's wrong and gathering the information and passing it all the way through the systems. Today, I'm just going to kind of walk through our journey where we started, to be honest, in 2000, and how we identified a problem of only working on repair orders, and that didn't provide anything, and how we tried to solve that problem by, well, taking the same journey Dal has just outlined. And does this work?
The left one. Fred? The right one? Yes, the right.
There we go.
The other one.
Okay, so currently we have 650 locations throughout North America, including Puerto Rico and Quebec. So we have some cultural issues involved as well as just basic maintenance issues in communications. We run around 100,000 vehicles. We have 2,700 desktop users, management, support. We have 2,800 tablet users, technicians at the point of repair. That's where we are now. Where we started, we were running on diverse systems. Some of them were actually on Xenix. Anyone here remember Xenix? We've moved from there in 2000 to where we are now using Hexagon Software as a Service EAM solutions. We moved from clerks data entering paper work orders and filing away paper checklists to technicians now are enabled and punched into the system with tablets, collecting their own information, looking up their own histories, and recording information for their peers to see later for future repairs. We've moved our inspection forms from pure paper-based to purely digital checklists on tablets that technicians complete themselves. It's been quite a journey. The first point was to get to that point of repair, get the technology, get the information available to the technician at the point of repair. And that's where we started. And that happened when tablets became commercially viable with a software solution that could be used that was out of the box. The initial thought, as everyone's thought, I suspect, is technicians won't like it, they'll break them, they'll do all kinds of stuff, they'll never stand up. The fact is, we started with Apple Gen 1 tablets, and they're still running. We're having to change them now because new technologies on the software will not run on Gen 1 Apples. So that's a sign that this rollout for those technicians, the technicians love it. They see it as a tool, and they value good tools. And they've kept these tools running because they don't want anyone to take them away. And part of that is when we rolled these tools out, we were very clear, this is not Big Brother. We're not monitoring you. We're not watching your steps on the plant floor. This is for you to use to access information about this repair when you're standing at the repair. Do you need a piece of information from the OEM? Here's this tablet. It's a computer. It has the internet. It's secured through our Wi-Fi or our cellular. Use it. Go get the schematics you need. Do you need to see if the parts are in the storeroom? Here it is. See if the parts are in the storeroom. And this is the one really big piece of innovation that came out of this layer. We created a centralized engineering help desk. And we enabled that technician on that repair, standing at the repair, to push a button on the tablet on the work order that says, I need help on this work order. That action automatically created a help desk ticket, identified to that senior ASE master technician that this person needs help on this work order, on this equipment, and from that central help desk, we could see in the system, what's the repair history, what's this exact work order, what are the notes from the technician that he's doing. We could go out to the warranty processing systems, we could go out to the OEM, gather information back, And then we could contact that person at the point of repair using rescue lens, which allowed us to use the tablet and the camera imaging system to see the repair, and both parties could circle and write on that mutual screen, pointing to where to look at to do the repair. We could share schematics in real time, attach the schematic to the work order from the central point, the person at the point of repair sees it. We looked at digitization as a point of enabling and trusting the technicians to do their job and to ask the right questions and to put in the right data about what's going to happen. It works very well if you have trust in your technicians. If you approach it as a classical central command and control, I don't think it really gets you anywhere. But if you approach it as a communications device about maintenance and social maintenance and interaction, suddenly you have a very rich conversation and you gather information that you would never have gathered. And you gather it faster. The velocity of the information we get now is much more fast than when we had technicians handing paper into clerks who data entered it a week later. It all worked great at that level. Everyone was surprised. Paper disappeared off the 4 supervisors' desks, just wasn't needed anymore. What didn't work so well, the 4 supervisors didn't know how to manage that way. Suddenly, their points of contact disappeared. The velocity of their need to assign work to technicians increased faster than they ever expected. And the velocity of questions coming to them from the technicians increased faster because they no longer had the luxury of the technician having to go find them before they asked the question. They could get 3 questions at one time now, when before they could count on space to separate the question from them. So our next step was to look at the shop supervisors and say, what can we do to help them? How do we change the management model so that they can use a workflow that's digital and see and have a greater awareness of what's happening on the floor in real time, so that they can plan out the day before they come in? So we changed it so that the expectation is that floor supervisor, based on fleet maintenance, has the work aligned so the technicians know what they want or what they have to do. And we found out that technicians want that. It helped them pace their day as well because they're not looking for the next job. They're not having to walk into an office, see a dry erase board. This was a harder pull because it wasn't just a communication issue. This has also changed the power structure and it changed management philosophies. And I think we all experience this to some extent because it breaks down the walls between departments. Suddenly, that supervisor is making decisions, getting assignments out to his technicians faster. But now procurement is also saying, oh, this is coming, they can see it faster. Middle management, regional management, executive management is also seeing all of this now in real time. More people are seeing what's happening. More questions are coming from across departments. It requires faith and cooperation across the entire organization to be able to get here. And it requires trust that everyone's working for the best of the team. That is a tougher part, and it's a big part of the digitalization path because without it, all these tools can still be used in silos, and you won't get the benefit. You really have to figure out how do we adjust this so that it is an enterprise-wide communication interaction. From there, we started saying, okay, we have data, we are still trying to use it the way we used to do it, even though we're more open to how to use it. The question is, how do we change it so that we have very clear dashboards for everybody? And one of the goals we wanted here wasn't just transparency, but we want to provide a default understanding of how decisions are made and what are the goals. It's great to say net zero is our goal. The interesting part is if you open up the entire process and the questions that come in from notifications, suddenly a VP can ask questions of a location manager in real time. The value in that is suddenly the decision process, the questions, they're not behind a boardroom door. The guy at the front end gets to hear this. He gets to participate. He gets to understand better what's happening. What are the real criteria by which to make decisions? And how does what he does, turning this wrench, impact all the way through the organization. Making these dashboards is challenging because people don't necessarily want to give that up, or they don't want to articulate the knowledge they have. They may not even know how to articulate that knowledge. But it's where there's a really interesting engineering problem here, social engineering, to figure out how do we preserve knowledge? How do we enable the entire collective company to be smarter? And honest, given our keynote lecture, it's what I'm hearing. And this is what we run into as diesel mechanics. There's fewer people entering the field as a diesel mechanic than retiring. And this started 5 and 6 years ago, before COVID, before the labor problems we have now. The problem that is being challenged here with new technologies is the same problem. How do you change the educational process? How do you get people to admit they don't know and ask for an answer? And how do we get gatekeepers to trust people to develop answers? Because even the keynote question, when the question came up about ISO standards, the answer is right. You have electrical vehicles. There are no standards yet. No one really knows how long things are going to ask or what to do. We've got to listen to what is happening and be able to make it a piece of information available for everybody to understand and to take action on. For us, on that survey that we did earlier, safety is first, because without safety, people don't go home. Without safety, you also use one of those key assets, which are the people working for us, the people who do these repairs and have this knowledge. We've got to get that in place first, because it all comes back around to, I hate to use this term, but tribal knowledge. We have to be able to understand it, and we have to share it so it becomes a corporate body of information for everybody to understand. That's our third step. We see that what's needed now are new tools. We can see how we can get digitalization to work. We can see how we can build a social maintenance platform that records work, shows the expected work to be done, allows us to manage it, but also allows us to talk about how to make the work plan better. Now we have such granularity, such high velocity of data, no one can read it. Yeah, the same thing as trying to grab the codes off the engine. There's too much. We actually need more, we need predictive management. We need not just exceptions. We don't need text all the time because we could overwhelm ourselves with text of problems. We need some of that, but the solution isn't just continual, oh, here's an exception, here's an exception. We need a model that says, we see these shops, we see these types of assets operating. The manager needs to ask this question because it appears that in cold weather environments, this item is a problem. Or that we see that in these economic areas in Canada, there is a problem coming here. We need to address this management problem with supply chains. Yes, by ourselves we can do it, maybe if we have time to read everything, but we really need a new set of tools and analytics to help us with that kind of predictive management to tell us the question that we will get to tomorrow. Don't make me wait till tomorrow to get to it. Tell me now so I can get a better answer. Just some more detailed slides as far as predictive analytics and other items are done. The biggest lessons we've learned out of this, as I've kind of talked as we went through here, yeah, we started with CMMS. Yeah, it worked to record history. It generated a lot of paper. Our customers don't want paper. They want to know that we're caring for their assets. They want to know that their constituents, the passengers and the children on those buses, are going to be safe and get to where they are supposed to be on time. And we can do that mission and fulfill that requirement, one, fixing the buses safely, and two, it can be available digitally. And three, that enables us to actually take that key stakeholder into our process so that now that communication, that social maintenance piece, it becomes more inclusive of the stakeholders and the actual riders and the customer. The other discovery we had is, yes, we have to document maintenance, we have to schedule work, But our maintenance system is really a communication system. It's a matter of action and direction and feedback when things don't fit what the management thought was. And it's accelerated that ability to meet those points. And we see where we're going. That the problems we have with siloed management, the problems we have with retirements and with changing workforces, we had those before COVID. We had them before the need to change energies. Those are the same problems we have to solve and we've always had to solve. This is a place to go ahead and start that change so that we can have more resilient organizations to meet the future. I'll stop here. I think that covers everything, and I'm looking forward to the panel discussion.